Hi there, my name's Colin and this is the Action Figure Resource video channel, the place for all your action figure news, reviews, tutorials and guides. Today I'm going to be taking a look at these variations of the Star Wars vintage action figures from 1977 to 1984. The vintage Star Wars action figures are dear childhood friends of many older fans. Even E.T. was introduced to some of them when he visited our planet. Needless to say, vintage action figures are still collected today on their original card and also in loose condition. In this video, I'll shed some light on the many variations of Kenner's classic figures. It's important to understand that nearly all vintage figures have variations that range from obvious to minor ones. Fans and collectors are still discussing the origin and the validity of certain less obvious differences today. These variations sometimes occurred when figures were produced in different countries or at another factory. For example, most Mexican Lily Ledy figures differ from the ones offered in North America and in Europe. The Lily Ledy figures are left out of this article because they're nearly all different, but I have a separate video on those ones for you. Check the link in the description box below. Most of the major variations are found in the Star Wars and the Empire Strikes Back lineups. The Return of the Jedi collection certainly has its proper variations, but not as many as the previous waves. But before we start and get into the nitty-gritty of these variations, don't forget to support this channel by subscribing below, smashing that like button and clicking on the bell icon. When you click on the bell icon, remember to select all on the drop-down menu to get notifications on all my new videos. Okay, first we'll take up the variations from the original episode 4, Star Wars A New Hope.
ActionFigureResource.com. Yesterday's toys, today's treasures.
The first figure we're going to look at is Luke Skywalker. Luke is one of the figures with the largest number of variations in the entire line. The two major variations either have blonde or brown hair, but there's more than meets the eye. Luke's hair can range from dark brown to lemon blonde, and his trousers can also range from dark brown to cream. There's even a Luke figure with orange hair. Another infamous variation is the double telescoping lightsaber. Kenner used double telescoping lightsabers for the very first few figures of Luke, Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader. A double telescoping saber is rare and can be recognised by the much longer tip of the saber, almost reaching the surface when pointing downwards. Double telescoping Luke is the least rare of the three figures, mostly because it was also included in the early bird sets. Obi-Wan Kenobi shares Luke's hair issues. You can find Ben with grey but also with white hair. Darth Vader doesn't have any main regular variations, except for the double telescoping lightsaber. And Ben and Vader are the rarest of all the loose Star Wars figures, and there aren't many left today. Han Solo features one of the most obvious variations. Kenner first released Han with a small head, which was replaced by a larger head that looked a bit more like Harrison Ford. Kenner seems to have overdone themselves since the second head looks a bit too large. The small head was mostly packed with the early bird cards, so it appears to be less common than the large head. Another figure from the first wave is the Sand People. Most Tusken Raider figures have filled tubes on the side of their face, but some figures, who were apparently packed on Return of the Jedi cards, have hollow tubes instead. The colour of the gloves and belt from the Sand People figures may also vary from light brown to dark brown. Another infamous variation took place when Kenner replaced the cheap vinyl cape of its Jawa figure by a cloth cape. Kenner reasoned that since the Jawa was a smaller figure, they needed to upgrade its value by adding a nicer cloth cape. History has its own way of dealing with decisions like that, and the short-lived vinyl cape Jawa became one of the vintage holy grails, and as such, it's one of the most highly sought-after variations on the market these days. Buying a loose vinyl cape Jawa requires a lot of caution and research because there are many forgeries. The vinyl cape of the Tall Toys Jawa, Australia and New Zealand, has a similar colour as the cape of Obi-Wan Kenobi, while other Jawa vinyl capes should be lighter in colour. If you want to check out and find more information on the vinyl cape Jawas, check out my website. Again, I will put a link in the description box to the page where I show and discuss the fake and real vinyl Jawa figures. Okay, next up we have Boba Fett. Boba Fett came in a rich varieties of colours and differences. A variation that has become quite popular is the Tri-Logo Boba Fett, which has a much paler colour and has no COO, country of origin mark. The Tri-Logo nickname isn't really correct, since these Fetts were also sold on Return of the Jedi cards in Europe. A minor variation that several figures share is the colour of their face. Figures like the Death Star Commander, Star Destroyer Commander, Luke Skywalker, X-Wing fighter pilot, and Leia Organa can be found with different coloured faces. Walrus Man also has several variations concerning the colour of his tusks, white or pink, and his skin. Chewbacca is a fine example of a figure with no major variations, but with many small differences such as the colour of his fur, his bowcaster and his pouch. Okay, next we're going to take a look at the Empire Strikes Back. The first wave of episode 5, or the Empire Strikes Back, also has some figures with obvious variations. Luke Skywalker, Bespin fatigued, succeeds in sharing similar characteristics with the original Luke. It also comes in a wide variety of hair colours, ranging from pale yellow to greenish brown. The boots of some figures may also be a bit darker. Lando Calrissian has many easily recognisable variations because some figures' teeth and eyes aren't painted. Both variations are equally common. Leia Organa with Bespin gown is the next Cloud City figure to feature interesting variations. She comes with a crew neck, flesh colour, turtleneck, or even a rare gold neck. This figure was also released with a variety of different faces, so Leia Bespin figures will rarely be exactly the same. The Rebel Soldier Hoth Battle Gear is a figure with many small variations, including the colour of his skin and clothes. Not unlike Han Solo Hoth Battle Gear, whose legs can have different shades of brown. The Imperial Stormtrooper Hoth Battle Gear has an interesting variation, being the YPS PBP Spanish Snowtrooper. YPS was a German comic that often contained extras. Issue 150 came with a snowtrooper that sometimes had a gun from Palitoy's Action Force line. The YPS and PBP can be identified by several small differences, including circular slots on the skirt and a slightly more detailed body. Other figures from the first wave have less obvious variation. IG-88 came in metallic or chrome. The Bespin security guard, modelled after Bespin guard holder Spinoza, came in a variety of moustaches, and Bosket appears with different shades of colour on his head, limbs and jumpsuit. Yoda has endless variations. He's either accompanied by an orange or by a brownish snake, and while these are two main alterations, the diminutive Jedi Master often appeared in different skin colours, and his gimmer stick is found in several tones of brown. The later waves of The Empire Strikes Back contained less obvious variations, though the Imperial Commander figure sports two head variations, skinny and round. The colours of the skin of the Hoth Rebel Commander, Cloud Car Pilot and the AT-AT Commander can either be flesh or a bit paler. Labot and Dengar have similar facial issues, and the Labots with the flesh face have round dots on their belts instead of circular ones. The Spanish Dengar PBP was released in a darker armour. The porcine Ugnaught can be encountered wearing a bluish or purplish smock. There are Ugnaughts with smock whose colours differ a little bit from the blue and purple, though sunlight may have caused the colour to fade. Even without the smock, the Ugnaught figure comes in many small differences, such as the colour of the face, differently coloured eyebrows, and thin or thick cords of the smock. Next, the Return of the Jedi figures. Before we take a look at the Return of the Jedi variations, I just have a small favour to ask. If you want to help by supporting this channel so that I can continue making videos like this, why not become a member of the AFR Best Action Figure Guide? Here you'll find more than 60,000 action figures dating from 1964, individually listed with their release date, accessories, rarity and historical value. You'll also find hundreds of tutorials, guides and checklists, and a video library with exclusive videos. To learn more on how to become an AFR member, see the link here or in the description box. Okay, let's get on with the Return of the Jedi variations. Again, Luke Skywalker with Jedi Knight outfit is the next Luke figure with many variations. An early trailer of Return of the Jedi showed Luke with a blue lightsaber, and that's probably why Kenner released their first Luke Jedi figures with a blue lightsaber instead of a green one, which was later changed, making the blue ones quite scarce. Luke's cape can be found sewn, shut or with a snap. Two main sculpts were used for Jedi Luke. One has a moulded face with painted darker hair, and the other sculpt has moulded lighter hair with a painted face. The reason why many Luke Jedi figures have paint damage on the top of their nose. The Rebel Commando and General Medine can be found as well with either moulded or a painted face. Lando Calrissian Skiff Guard disguise exists with a darker or lighter skin tone and a different colour of the torso. The Ewok figures Logray and Teebo have slightly different shades of fur. Klautu can have variations in the skirt and different fabrics, and differently coloured limbs and legs. Trenchcoat Han Solo is the last figure with an obvious variation. He comes with or without cameo lapels on the front of the collar of his Endor coat. Although the Max Rebo band wasn't sold as individual figures, the set appears with grey or black microphone and with a black or grey Chidinkalu, which was Droopy's instrument. These variations are just the tip of the iceberg, and an endless amount of other diversities can be discovered when you delve deeper into the world of collecting loose vintage figures. To collect them all may be hard to achieve, but it sure can be fun trying. There are many other variations not mentioned in this quick and simple guide. One of the best websites for checking out on all the different variations is the Imperial Gunnery, which is an absolute goldmine of resources and information, and the main site I use for getting the information in this video. Please support them by checking their website in the link in the description box below. If you're looking for carded or loose vintage Star Wars action figures, see the link here or in the description box below for the AFR Vintage Action Figure store. I have great prices, monthly sales, special offers, worldwide delivery, multiple currencies accepted, and a special customer loyalty program. Don't forget to support this channel so that I can keep making videos like this by subscribing below, smashing that like button, and clicking on the bell notification to be notified of my new videos. When you click on the bell notification, make sure you select all so you get notification every time I upload a new video.
actionfigureresource.com. Yesterday's toys, today's treasures.